So that's the interesting thing about the camp experience. I think the first time I really heard about it was a neighbor girl came over. She was doing some kind of project for school. And then my father explained to her what had happened. Prior to that, they spoke very, very little to myself or my sister about what had happened to them. It was something that wasn't very pleasant for them. But again, when the neighbor girl came over, he shared his experience. And I think that's the first time I ever really heard him talk about it.
How did you feel when you finally heard these things that your father was sharing, and especially that you hadn't heard it at all while growing up?
I mean, it was shocking and disturbing that, that they had to move far away from their homes and living in these desolate conditions. And then later on, I mean, he became more open about it. And it may be because he felt like we were young and small and couldn't really understand it. But in later years, he was much more open about it. And in fact, made it a point to take us to Utah so we could see what the terrain was around this topaz. And when it was in just this desert area where there was just nothing growing and a lot of tumbleweeds. Yeah, I just remember when we went there, it was on this road that was going nowhere, and it was just dry and desolate and hot and dusty. And we walked around a little bit, and I think we found some foundations from some buildings of some sort. But at that time, there was no marker or anything that would lead you to know that it was there. But he kind of figured out where it was just based on his memories.
Do you find that this is a history that continues to be important from your perspective, and why it's important for us to educate our younger generations about Japanese concentration camps, Japanese American concentration camps, and incarceration?
Yeah, certainly understanding what can happen to civil liberties, civil rights of a whole group of people, and how the government can categorize people based on their national origin is important to understand. That things can, history can repeat itself, in times of crisis after 9/11 or other situations. There have been these plans, secret plans drawn up on, what would we do if we needed to round up anybody from a Muslim country, or, how would that work? And so it's significant and important. And again, and then the Trump Muslim travel ban as well. There have been many instances where, for whatever reason, the government may decide to take away the civil liberties and rights of an entire group of people.